Welcome everybody to the first low-code, no-code event for Devtoberfest 2022. Before we begin, I just want to take care of a few housekeeping items. First, you can see all of the low-code, no-code events coming up today and the rest of the month in the SAP community, and I'll leave a link to the chat in the chat. Second, I want to especially highlight one of the sessions, which is a Team Back session called The Best of Both Worlds, which will show you how to use and benefit from the low-code tools in SAP Business Application Studio. And that's what I consider the keynote of the day. And finally, I will add in the chat a link to the validation tutorial. So once you've seen all these sessions, either live or on replay, you can complete the tutorial and get some points for our Devtoberfest contest. Okay, now I want to introduce our special guest for today, Alon Shachar.
Nice to meet you guys.
Alon is responsible for the application development. He's the lead for that, and especially SAP Business Application Studio and SAP AppGyver. And this is a really special session for me because we have many technical sessions of how to use the tooling. But I first wanted to take us a few minutes to talk about, all of a sudden we're hearing about no code, low code all the time, and I didn't really understand why. So I wanted to take a few minutes to let Alon talk about that. What is SAP offering? Perhaps even what's the future of no code, low code? So Alon, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So as mentioned, my name is Alon Shachar, and I'm the responsible product manager for application development at SAP. I've started to share my screen. Just give me a hint that you're seeing that. Daniel, is that visible? You're probably muted, so I guess that was a yes. So again, as mentioned, my name is Alon Shachar, and I'm responsible for application development, product management. I'm very excited to be here today because eventually, when we are being asked, okay, so what are you doing, and what's the purpose of the stuff that you're responsible for? And eventually it's all about you. It's all about how we can make it easier for you, the developer that wants to go and create applications using SAP software. How do we make it much more usable? How do we make things much more accessible to you guys? And with that, we also have the trends around low code, no code, and application development with no code, and what's the difference. And during this session, I will try to give some introduction to the entire Oktoberfest sessions that will be there. I will show a couple of demos, but I think that most of those demos will be done in the dedicated sessions of the different tools. What I hope that you can gain out of this session is to put you somehow into context. What are we doing? Why are we doing that? Why is that important for us? And to get a glimpse of the capabilities that we have for the different tools. Obviously, for us, when we started that kind of a journey, it was there are also different terms. Like one of them was around rapid application development or rapid business application innovation. And with that, every time that the aim was always, how can we make it much more simpler to create applications using SAP software? In a way, what I use internally is actually two different terms. The first one is, how can we reduce the total cost of development, which means that eventually that means for you guys, you'll be able to do your stuff in a much more efficient manner and try to invest most of your time creating the right business results of what you're after, rather than start searching on how to configure that or the other system and how to look for that or the other components. And the second term that I'm using is that I'm using the term of how can we lower the barrier of entry, meaning how can we enable more and more developers to step in, even if they are if their skills is not up to speed with a professional developer at state, but they are able to create some kind of a business application, because some of those users, some of you guys, are not developers maybe from the get-go. Maybe you need to provide that or the other applications on top of SAP, but your main focus is actually the line of business and the business aspects of the companies that you work for. So why is that important at all? And for us, for SAP, we are seeing the trend in the market. So we are seeing that the organization have a bigger struggle to innovate in a greater speed, and the reasons for that are usually they end up in three main categories of reasoning. First and foremost, there is an evolving customer requirements. You guys need to deal with more and more requirements, need to create more and more application, and that needs to be done on a very, I would say, even very sophisticated and complex environments that resides in cloud. You need to chase up the technology stack as such, but eventually your business is to create those kind of a business application. The second one, obviously, is that the development resources are limited, and that's true for every organization that we speak with. Even if those kind of developers are within the corporate IT, or even if they reside outside of the development IT, then usually those kind of resources are limited, and you need to manage your time in a much more efficient manner. And last but not least are that the IT landscapes, as mentioned before, are becoming more and more complex. You need to get on top of different technology stacks. You need to understand more and more stuff. And again, trying to bring all of that together results in a big challenge. That how can you innovate in a big speed towards that term? While I wanted to share a little bit, one survey that we are seeing of the introduction of low-code applications, and I will explain a little bit later what do we mean with low-code or with no-code, but practically what we are seeing is that there are more and more enterprises that step into that business of using low-code offers, and again, those kind of enterprises need to provide more and more applications in a faster development space, and eventually we need somehow to provide a way for you guys to get on top of the SAP technology and to make that kind of a story resonates much better. Because eventually your business success is our success, and for us having that as a goal, how can we also enable your transformation into that business will be is of high importance. Then how does that evolve or within the SAP environment? And obviously, as mentioned, trying to support that kind of transition. We also, from SAP point of view, we need to enable you guys to become an intelligent, sustainable enterprise, bringing that together to a comprehensive portfolio of solution and technologies in the service of customers. And then this is that's really important, and the way that we kind of build it is that is all based on the business technology platform, where we will provide with that platform the aspects of application development, aspects of integration, data analytics, and AI. And on top of that, there will come the different industries and the different industries and the solutions of the industries. and together with that, bring together the BTP platform together with all the enterprise resources management and like business network, industry cloud, and others, bringing also the different industry specific solution into the space. We are aiming to enable every enterprise to become what we call an intelligent enterprise and sustainable enterprise company. And for us, our role in that picture, as mentioned, we are part of BTP. So I'm part of the application development team within BTP. Within that, we are also part of we are together with us. We are providing aspects of application development, but there are also other aspects around automations, around integrations, and obviously around the digital experience. So if I need to speak about what are we providing as part of business technology platform, is the combination of how people can actually create applications, create maybe some process automation around that, whether that's workflow or robotic process automation, and then they will be able to create some integration on top. And all of that, trying to aim to the business developer or to the professional developer, eventually we need to end up in some kind of application that also needs to be managed by the business users. So from our point of view, what we are trying to leverage is to bring all those topics together. Maybe before we continue, a little bit about the terms. So I'm using the terms professional developers, citizen developers, and maybe to keep it very simple. A professional developer is someone who really knows how to code. He knows the tools that he's using. He knows aspects of what we call the application development lifecycle. So topics like development, testing, deployment, versioning, all of that. They are familiar with that. The other term that we are using is citizen developer or the business users. So those are the developers who are part of the business line of business, and they need to create applications. They are not necessarily coders, but they do need to have some kind of skills to be able to create applications on top of our software. And this is where we differentiate also with our tool sets. So we've got SAP Business Application Studio that focus more on the professional developer, and we've got SAP AppGyver, which is more on the citizen developer. Or in other terms, SAP AppGyver more focused around no-code or low-code development, while SAP Business Application Studio spans around the low-code to professional coding. Eventually, with all of that, we are trying to make sure that we are able to create and deliver enterprise application much faster, regardless of your skills level, in a manner that is very modern. So to be able to create applications visually, to be able to create that in an integrated manner, and obviously to be able to scale that in the corporate. So the combination of those tools, what we are trying to provide, and maybe a little bit about what each of the tool can do. So while AppGyver should more empower business users and citizen developer to build a pixel perfect standalone application, Business Application Studio is more about the professional developer. And we have ways to boost the development productivity for both the professional developers and also citizen developer if needed. They both share some common capabilities, like the ability to create extensions, the ability to create UI components, the ability to create service modeling, and obviously to integrate with SAP APIs. And one of the other things that we work on is to build what we call a development continuum, to be able to, so that people are able to create application with our low code, but can also consume some services or some components that were built with professional coding. And all of that obviously should be done in a manner that is very, very simple, in a visual manner, and with an enterprise grade in mind. Again, that's a very key capability of what we are after. So stepping into the first tool, so SAP AppGyver, as mentioned, is a no-code application, so tool. As you probably know, AppGyver, the AppGyver team was acquired by SAP more than a year ago, and now I can truly say that it's fully integrated within the SAP environment. It has with AppGyver, you can easily build UIs with drag and drop functionality. You can integrate external data using some kind of predefined integration. And obviously, there is some ways for you to create some logic with our flow functions. We've got a lot of formulas creation. So if people are familiar with Excel, so there is a very similar concept in AppGyver where you can go and create more and more formulas, or you can use the pre-built formulas that come with AppGyver. And something new that is coming actually with our tech release is what we call the visual cloud function. And this is where we are able to empower the users also to be able to build data models and business logic. And with that, AppGyver will be able to enable the creation of full stack application completely from the get-go. As you could see, there will be a very powerful way within AppGyver to easily go and create some new data modeling in AppGyver, and then map it back to the UI components that we have. I can maybe quickly go and share a demo of that. So hopefully you are able to see my screen. So what you're seeing here is that there is a way for me to run. So this kind of I created an application that is able to easily provide a way to order a new equipment. And within that application, it's a very simple application where one can add, you can see mouse or monitor or keyboard. So I can easily check one of those. I can put my name there and place an order for that. And once this order is there, I can manage that. But one thing that I wanted to do is that I wanted to show you a little bit how that is mapped to our data models behind the scenes. So as you could see, and this is actually it's one of the new things that we will bring with AppGyver. So there are already two entities with AppGyver, an equipment and an order. And you can see that there is some data for that in the with some kind of a data model and some kind of a sample data behind there. But what I will try to do right now, I will try to create another entity, and using the visual cloud function, I can easily create a new data entity. This is an order description. I will add a couple of fields, so some description fields and some status fields. I would use the formula editors for that. And once this is all done, so I've got my new data entity created. I will actually use that to deploy. So I'm actually, once I added that kind of an entity, I will deploy that. And once the deployment is done, I would go back to my application. And that is already maybe I will go back a little bit. So what you could see here is that this is the Composer Pro of AppGyver. And now I will add that kind of a new data model and try to map that to the existing application. So with that, I will add that kind of a new data model within AppGyver. I would add that kind of an order description. And very easily, I will drag and drop the entities or the field that were created in the other application. And once this is done, I will just run my application again. I will do some kind of mapping, and I will run my application again. And when I run that, I can see that now, after I place my order, there is some additional information in the application that was not there. So again, a very quick overview of there. I will continue maybe with the deck now, speaking a little bit about Business Application Studio.
Alon, can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
So what we just saw was that some of the data was coming from SAP backend, and then some of it I was creating new in the Visual Cloud Functions.
Exactly. So we use some of that data that came from the SAP backend and other new data entities that were created with the SAP with the new Visual Cloud Functions capabilities of AppGyver.
Okay, thanks.
Now, the other tool that we have here that is, as mentioned before, is SAP Business Application Studio. So while AppGyver is more a tool that focused on the citizen developer, Business Application Studio is a tool that is focused around the professional developer. And with that, one can build really low code or full code capabilities. And what's new about that is that we actually added to the existing AppGyver, to the existing Business Application Studio, a capability to build a low code aspect as well. So everything done in a very visual manner, trying to support that kind of very efficient development of stuff. So with that, you can create in a very intuitive way both data models, UI. You can add sample data to that. You can obviously tighten the integration within the existing SAP data sources, like with S4 stuff. So SAP Business Application Studio is really tailored for building applications on top of the SAP technology, and with that, what we are offering is a way to connect to the SAP opinionated technology to be able to create full-blown Fiori-related applications using the Fiori technology. And with that, you would be able to go and create new data models and add them to the creation of services and to attach UI to that. I would just show you a glimpse of that so that you'll be able to see how that looks like. So this is what you're seeing here. This is what we call our storyboard. So this is where you see the different data models that we have, the services, sample data, user interfaces, and even workflow that are part of Business Application Studio. This is where you can see the list of the different data models. You can later on be able to go and actually look into the actual different data models, see the different properties of them, and then in a very easy manner connect those kind of data models within your project to each of those entities or components that you have within your application. The nice thing about Business Application Studio is that there is always a way to move between what we call the low-code capability or the visual aspect of low-code, or moving back directly into coding. And with that, to be able to do professional coding with just regular editors as it was done before. Maybe the last thing that I wanted to mention here is that everything is when we start a project, there is a way to start a project from what we call the lobby, and within the lobby you can create applications either for AppGyver or for Business Application Studio. That is the one entry page for the developer. And starting from there, you can immediately create a new project, and that example shows how to build a new Business Application Studio project, as was discussed before. Daniel, I can move together. You know, I can continue with the demo, but maybe seeing the time, maybe it would be time right now to pick up on some questions if we have there.
Okay, I have two questions. So the first, somebody asked about the Visual Cloud Functions. Will it work if the device is offline?
Yes. So you mean would that work with mobile use cases? Was that?
Yes, but somebody who's offline and not connected to the internet, will they still be able to access that data?
So having the support for our of our offline capabilities is something that will come later. Generally speaking, that's part of our mobile support in AppGyver. And once we have the offline support with AppGyver, so that will be relevant as well. So it's not a question of whether those data models are, whether Visual Cloud Function is supporting offline capabilities, but rather whether our mobile capabilities of AppGyver support offline, and that will come later. That will not be in the first release.
Very good. And the second question I have is, I know technically we can do these things. So, somebody can create a destination or backend data, and the business user can access it. My question is more, do we have best practices or ways that we can get professional developers, business users, IT departments working together? Do we have a model of how that gets done in an organization?
Yeah, so thank you very much for that question. So I hope that I'm getting the right question there, but I will take it to what we call the internally IT governance, or also a trend that we know about, which is the democratization of IT. For us, what is really important is how we can enable that kind of a collaboration between the different users, but still in parallel to make sure that everything is what we could fully trusted from the get-go. Meaning is that there is a way when we use a no-code tool to make sure that it is compliant with the corporate strategy, that one can provide a feature set that is that would not hinder the security of the solution, for instance. And all of that is provided under that umbrella of IT governance. So with that, we are supporting first the creation of those kind of well-secured applications, either being built by a no-code or a pro-code tool. Then we are supporting the collaboration of those users from the lobby, from where I showed you how to create a new application. So those users can collaborate in the lobby, and also they can collaborate in between themselves. And later on, what we are planning, and that will not be in the first release, but what we are planning is that a full-fledged capability of which user can do what. So also to support roles management within the tool, and to be able to make sure that the IT admins can enable different capabilities for the different users. So so all in all, the answer to that is yes, but I hope that I answered the question properly.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we have a few more questions that just came in. The first one is Visual Cloud Functions available in the Community Edition, and my understanding is it won't be. It's part of the BTP.
Exactly.
Version.
The Community Edition, yeah, the Community Edition will be there, but Visual Cloud Function is not going to be part of that.
Okay, and then it says, until when will it be available to customer use? I assume that means when will it be available?
Yes, yes, exactly.
I mean,
so
yeah, okay.
starting from TechEd, so we are planning to launch that during TechEd.
Okay, that was very simple. And
maybe for the sake of everyone, TechEd is planned for November timeframe.
Okay, so we get questions. We had a big question from a customer, and we set up a big call about places, customers, partners that are using ABAP development, who are doing ABAP development. So here, who are running ECC. So the question is, how do they benefit from the low-code platform?
Perfect. It's a good question. So having the support for a low-code solution for ABAP, so that has different dimensions. It can't be. I don't know how much time we have, but I would try to be very, very brief. First and foremost, once ABAP components are being exposed within the SAP system, so you can easily connect with from any kind of our tools, whether that is Business Application Studio or this is SAP AppGyver. You can connect to an SAP system, and while doing that, you can use or you can consume those kind of an ABAP components to create UI on top of that. If the need is to create UIs or new applications or new extensions on top of those kind of an ABAP stack, so that can be easily be done by the tools because they are highly integrated with our solution. The next thing that we have in place, so if your customer is really an ABAP shop and they would like to use just ABAP for that sake, so there is an ABAP solution for adding some low code around the ABAP Steampunk, and that is provided with the ABAP shop on how to create also low code capabilities that are also obviously integrated, but that live within the ABAP lifecycle. So that is not part of what I'm showing here, but that's also available coming from SAP.
Okay, we only have a few minutes. So one question was, where does Mendix fit in to this whole story?
So eventually, Mendix is another offer, I used to be a developer as well. And I know that in a lot of cases, developers have the need for a choice. And if someone wants to use Mendix to create applications on top of BTP, they can still do that. So I'm not going to get into when to use which tool, because eventually developers have their own kind of a stake. We from SAP, we do believe that developers need to get the right choice, and we need to provide the right tool set to provide any kind of applications on top of our on top of BTP, because eventually it's not a tools question, but rather it's a business scenario question. How are you going to satisfy the business needs by creating new business applications using SAP technology? And with that, if your choice is using Mendix, you can still do that. That is not going away.
Very good. Okay, I want to wrap it up. So thanks, Alon, for being here. There might be one or two questions. You can just take a look right now and answer them in the chat. So thank you for being here, Alon.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Feel free to shoot some more questions, and I'm really excited about the new Oktoberfest. So thank you, Daniel, and guys, for organizing that as well. Thank you so much.
Sure. Just a quick housekeeping before we say goodbye. I want to remind, coming up in about a half hour, there's a session, very hands-on demo session about how to use development lifecycle tools, CI/CD, GitHub integration, and all that within SAP Application Studio, Business Application Studio. And later on today, there will be the session that I mentioned at the beginning by Tim Beck, the best of both worlds, visual tools, but still full control of your code. Alon mentioned this about how to build services with the low-code tooling, but still have all of the file structures, files, coding behind the scenes. So he will actually do a more deep dive into that. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.